Now that we have all 4 legs done, we can start to just open the center part of this up, and then start pulling the quarters off this animal, and then we'll get all the way around to the back, take the back straps out, and we can cut the head off. So for this one, we're just going to leave the skull right in the hide. So
we'll end up skinning it up to the base of the neck and then cutting down through. We'll move the head, and much like we use pressure to disarticulate those wrists and those ankles, we'll get through the vertebrae, we'll find the separation between the two, cut down, and then twist the head off as well. That'll leave us essentially, because we'll have the front quarters and the hind quarters off, with just the core of that animal that will remain on the mountain. And we will take everything else off of it, including the back straps.
yeah, and again, this is where Mike had talked earlier. Down in this armpit, if you can spend a significant amount of time and really try to retain as much of this meat on the quarter, or you can take almost like a small layer of that meat and leave it on the hide side. Now, you're not going to be able to consume that, but you're also not going to run the risk of puncturing your hide. And that, if you feel the thickness of the skin in your armpit, it's pretty thin compared to something like your lower leg or other places in your body. And so to avoid puncturing the hide in there,
You have to sacrifice some of the meat.
we're leaving a little bit of meat on the hide, basically. So
we like to say that the only holes that should be in the hide if you're getting it tanned or turned into a rug are the entry and the exit wound of either your bullet or the arrow. Another piece of very thin skin that Adrian's going to come up to is the elbow. Much like in people, the elbow on the bears has a very thin layer of hide over it. So that'll take a little bit of care and precision to work around. You want to come over and hold that leg over your shoulder?
yeah, this is a nice thing about having your hunting partner there for you. This bear isn't a monster by any means, but doing any other animals, it's really nice to have a partner be able to help just
pull the hide.
Yeah, just pull hide and apply a little bit of pressure, so that where you're running your knife, you're running it against a little bit of pressure, and then it pops nice for you. I'm going.
Here, use this one. I'm going to hold that so it doesn't get dirt on it. That one's going to be super duper sharp. So he's working his way around that elbow. And again, you're going to be watching this and saying, man, they're leaving a lot of meat on that hide. The purpose for this animal, the number one goal for us, is to preserve the hide. So before you start any level of field dressing or whatnot, think about your goal. If it's a deer or an elk and you want to do a shoulder mount, you're going to have to cape it out, and you'll need to be prepared to do that. If it's something that you want to harvest as much meat as you can from, you're going to take it as superficial as you possibly can. So it's always beneficial, just like when you're at the butcher table, processing your own quarters and everything else you harvest in the field, to have a plan when you go into the field dressing of an animal.
So now I'm just working my way up to where I can get to the point of this front shoulder. I can just remove this quarter right out of here and okay, so I'm going to pull that one back that way. I think we're pretty close.
So I'm applying upward force. The weight of the bear is holding it down so Adrian can get his knife in there, move the hide off of the scapula, which is your backbone right here, and we can take that front quarter off. You know?
All right, so I'm just gonna just start cutting through the tissue in here. So this was obviously we've got some bloodshot meat in here too, and we can clean that up later. But we're basically going to take as much of this brisket meat down the center as we can on this too. Working our way up. Now, if I get my knife in on this side, all I'm doing is just disconnecting the muscle tissue here. You can see I'm not even really jamming my knife in there with a lot of force, especially when you have your partner pulling on this. He's putting tension on there, and as I go through and cut, it's just releasing, that the tension that he's putting in there, and the connective tissue just separates. All right, so.
We got a nice front quarter. We'll clean up the bloodshot on the butcher table. Probably make this as one whole crock pot style roast. Another fantastic thing to do with bear meat is to grind it. Now, while we don't advocate grinding all of it because there's some delicious roast, a bear ham is absolutely wonderful. Ground bear meat really is some of the best hamburger you can get. It carries almost a fruity flavor to it. Makes sense since they fill themselves with wild berries throughout the summertime and the fall before they hibernate. It's really a delicious ground meat as well. I'm going to take this to the game bag.